Greetings everyone, my name is Edgar, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Super Danny 2. During the last part, I defeated the remaining 3 Roadmasters and moved on to the next phase of the game, where I have to face off against the Mega Man killers. Well, actually Quint isn't considered a Mega Man killer, but he's strongly associated with them. I'll be going after them in order of appearances, starting off with Enker, who first appeared in Mega Man World 1 for the Game Boy. Think of this as a Doc Robot phase of the game. In fact, we have the same stage select team as Mega Man 3. But before I move further into the stage, let me showcase the Shadow Fusion. Its main offensive ability is the Shadow Blade. You can fire it in 6 different directions, but only can have up to 1 at a time, and you have to wait for it to return back to you or disappear into nothingness. Its offensive ability is a stronger version of the Shadow Blade that never returns. You can fire up to 2 at a time, and you can fire it in 8 different directions. Its main movement ability is a faster slide, tied with the Snake Fusion in terms of sliding speed. It also seems that the Shadow Blade's hitboxes are a bit bigger than the normal Buster shots. Now, if I could fire up to 2 Shadow Blades at once, I'd more likely use this fusion. Otherwise, for most of the time, I'll ignore using it. I'd rather use other fusions. Oh goody, this Big Eye's placement is super annoying, as you can never tell when it's going to do its short hop and its tall hop. And here is one of the 2 primary gimmicks of this level, the fans. They'll blow you away if you stand in front of them, or stand too close in front of them. Not the best placement or introduction for a walking bomb in this level. And here's the second gimmick of the stage, these top solid platforms. If you're standing on top of them and press the down button, you can fall right through them, which also means that you can't slide on top of them as there's no quick sliding option. It's not like Mega Man Endless. Another nice feature of Shadow Man is, due to the Shadow Blade's increased hitboxes, you can also destroy the spines. For this section, I'll use the Skull Fusion due to the Skull Barrier, and hope it works. Sadly, it only protects against 1 acid glob. Hold left here. Once again, quick reactions. Be careful and don't slide here, otherwise you'll meet a quick end. For this section, slow and steady wins the race. And now I'm up to max lives and 7 D-tanks. One section where do not slide, you will die. Quickly combining usage of the 2 new gimmicks. And for this following section, I'm just going to use the Gyro Fusion just for safety. If you want to do this normally, either use regular Super Danny or use the Skull Fusion, or perhaps the Night Fusion if you don't want to have knockback. That was a lucky dodge over there. Let's hope he doesn't make it in time. That was a close one. If only I had an explosive weapon in this game, or was more consistent when the big guys would actually do their tall jumps. And they deal so much damage in this game. That's why they're my least favorite enemy in the game so far. which probably means I'm gonna take a death during this next encounter. Here's Enker. Unfortunately, you can't really determine what movement pattern he's gonna do until he does it. And the only time he's vulnerable is when he has his sword up. But if you do fire a strong shot at him, the reflected shot he sends back at you is super damaging. Edgar has no weaknesses other than the Mega Buster. Well, he does actually have a weakness, but that's a secret weapon that will only unlock at the end of the game. And it's random for how long he'll decide to hold his sword up. If this boss fight had better tells, I'd like it more. Next up is Quint, who hails from Mega Man World 2. He's essentially Mega Man from the future, reprogrammed by Dr. Wily. Random Dachone. I'm not sure if I like this Game Boy remix, it's a little bit too high-pitched. I wish we had a NES remix, or a remix that decreased the pitch. That was one of the problems with all the musical tracks in Rockman World 2. The compositions were fine, and I'd say they were pretty good. I'd say some of them were better than in Mega Man 2. The problem is that they're just too high-pitched. If they're down-pitched, they'd sound a lot better. Not the best placement for these fish enemies. If this was Super Danny powered up, I'd use Bubble Man here, but as I don't have him here, I'll use a Jar Fusion. Well, you can make this jump normally, but I don't want to risk it. At least there aren't any invisible ceilings here. And Super Danny's charge shot is more than adequate for dealing with all these enemies. Let's see what happens when I collect another life when I'm at 9 lives. Okay, that is still the max total. Another section which has these top slot platforms. Sadly, no ways to destroy the gyres. Not with my current fusion set. For a second there, I was worried that I chose the wrong option. And that's it, we're at Quint now. All these stages aren't that long, they're just generally more difficult than the preceding 8 Roadmaster levels, more so due to the boss encounters. I do like the modified intro for Quint. His weakness is at the top of the Sakugarne, of course. Out of the 4 bosses you battle in this phase of the game, he's the easiest one to deal with. On to Punk, who hails from Mega Man World 3. You may have already seen some footage of this stage back when I did my latest vlog. At the time of this recording, of course. And here's one of the toughest parts of this level. The problem with the Shadow platforms, as I mentioned earlier during this LP, is that the visual hitbox is smaller than the actual hitbox. The other way around. I mean, the actual hitbox of the Shadow platforms is smaller than what it visually looks like, so you can easily die if you're not careful. Essentially, you can just fall off the platform if you're just standing at the side. For this section, you're intended to stand in between each of the spikes. So it's best to use characters who can move rather quickly, not necessarily slide very quickly though. Unless you're intending to damage boost through this section. Or of course, if you want a damage boost, you can always just use the Fair Fusion special ability. The other reason why I play Skull Fusion here, due to being able to angle my shots. Yet I fired in the wrong direction, sadly. Oh well. Now for this section, well, I'll just get past it by using the Gyro Fusion. due to being an omnidirectional rush jet. I could do it, but I don't trust myself with the Sparkman platforms, especially with the nut and bolted enemies here. And that's it. We're at the end of the level. Time to face off against Punk. These are Fortress levels, so they assume you understand how these gimmicks already work from previous levels. Sometimes you have to jump over him, sometimes you have to slide under him. I was supposed to slide under him there. And he does a truckload of contact damage, that's the other problem. You have to react quite fast at what elevation he's gonna try rolling into you. And this time, I did damage list. You just need to react quickly to what elevation he's going to try rolling into you, and once that's done, it's not too bad. Last but not least is Ballade, who hails from Mega Man World 4. In retrospect though, that boss battle, once you learn the pattern, it isn't too bad, and it has more consistency than, let's say, Enker and Ballade in some respects. For this introductory segment, we get attacked by all these killer missiles. Essentially, this stage's gimmick are all these missiles. And out of all the stages so far in this game, I say that this is one of the prettiest ones. And be careful, if you walk into the explosions, they will deal damage to you. And of course, we have these pop-up attackers from Napalm Man's level. In order to collect this new tank, you need to use the Fair Fusion. Specifically, swap over to the Mimira, throw your head in a random direction, despawn that, and now because you have a 1-block hitbox, you can jump right through here. I forgot to mention Quint's weakness, but it's actually the Crystal Eye. Ballade's weakness is the Night Crush. For this section, I'm going to use the Skull Fusion due to its increased mobility. I suppose I'm supposed to drop down there, but I want to collect the large life energy first. And that's probably the midway point. I'm really thankful this stage doesn't have any enemies in this section. Knowing Blyka and some of their previous levels, I would have totally expected this section to actually have some enemies. In fact, let me see if I can skip past it by using the Fair Fusion. I can. It does reward players who like to experiment with the fusions. In order to collect that, I need to use the Gyro Fusion. I have the same complaint with Napalm Man's original level, but I wish the pop-up attackers had a better signal that they're down over there. Better indication, I mean. But I really like how this stage rewards players for experimenting with the fusions, specifically the Fair Fusion and the Gyro Fusion. Anyways, time to face off against Ballade, who, as I said earlier, has a weakness to the Night Crush. I'll sacrifice a Dew Tank. I did this boss battle rather sloppily, but now that I think about it, he's about as difficult as Enker, I'd say. More consistent in what he does, but he need to react fast, especially with all the projectiles he fires, with his Ballade Cracker. By defeating the 4 Mega Man killers, I now unlock the boss battle against Base, but I'll be taking care of that, as well as the Wily Fortress levels in the next part. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day. Toodles!